Well, let's get some more analysis now. We can speak to Hilary Ingham, who's a senior lecturer in the Department of Economics at Lancaster University in the UK. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. Russia keeps talking about this problem with turbines, damaged turbines. That's the reason, it says, for this cut in supply through the Nord Stream 1 pipeline. But Siemens Energy this evening putting out a message in the last few minutes saying there's no such damage report. What do you make of this justification being made by Russia?
Well, it's a very difficult one. As you say, Russia is saying that they require parts for the turbine to become fully operational and that it is sanctions that the EU have imposed that are stopping them getting those parts. But, Siemens have now denied this. There could be a problem with customs clearance for the parts considered, but it looks increasingly it must be a ploy just to reduce the flow of gas primarily into Germany. So, i.e., it's political rather than a mechanical issue.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that. And how is Germany responding to this then?
Well, Germany's in a very, very difficult position because it takes 25% of its total gas from Russia. And as you said, they were hoping that the Nord Stream 2 pipeline was going to come on stream. That is now not going to happen. So it's going to have to look for supplies elsewhere. It could look to a country, say, like Norway. But what is happening, it is going to have to pay more. And Germany's in a very precarious position because whilst other countries, and if you take Spain's being one such example, they use a lot of liquefied natural gas. But Germany doesn't have the storage facilities to go down that route. And even if it were to consider that, which I believe it is doing, those can't be built overnight. So it is highly dependent on Russia, at least in the short term. And, we have seen yesterday that the European Union have vowed to cut their use of gas by 15% in order to increase their stockpiles. But there's internal conflict there. So, not all countries are actually linked into this European gas network, and they don't see why they should be making sacrifices, say, for Germany. And in fact, Hungary voted against the deal completely. And it's very sort of weak because Spain and Portugal, along with some island states, they've got reprieves from it anyway. So it's not quite certain how that is going to work in practice, whether it will be binding or whether it will end up being quite loose.
Yeah, I mean, what this shows and what this underlines is that Germany has been way too dependent on Russia. And the minute Russia decides to weaponize energy, as it has done now, Germany's extremely vulnerable. I mean, what contingency are there any contingency measures in the short term, apart from asking for help from friendly countries around the world?
In the short term, all that they really can do is ask for help from friendly countries. I mean, in a sense, with prices rising, the price mechanism's going to do its own bit to reduce demand because, households are going to be doing things like turning radiators down. And it has even been mooted. Germany's got very heavy industry that's, a big user of fuel. And they've actually said that maybe something like the steel industry might have to look to cutting production targets slightly. So Germany is in a very, very difficult position. And you can look to renewables, like solar, like wind, like waves. But these things can't be built overnight. You can look to the medium term, but to go to renewable energy, the estimates you're looking at is for rich countries, a timeline of something like 2034. So, that's a good way off. That isn't going to overcome problems in the short term.
Just lastly, do you think there's a real risk here in Europe? We're going to run out of gas in the cold winter months?
Well, one of the things, of course, we don't know is how cold the winter months are going to be because it can be quite variable. I think they will probably just about get away with it. They do have significant stocks. So I think they will just about be all right, but it's very touch and go. It's not a guaranteed certainty.
OK, well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Hilary Ingham at Lancaster University. Thank you.
Thank you.